Welcome to Race Day TV on this sunny but pretty fresh winter's day. We are live from Zwartkops Raceway, just sort of southeast of Pretoria, for the inaugural event of the GTC Supa Cup. This is what it's all about. We've been waiting for months during lockdown. You can see we are practicing social distancing. We are practicing safety and security. And I tell you, compliments to everybody who's here at Zwartkops, everybody doing the same thing. GTC director and the man who started it. Can you believe it, Gary Formato? 4 years ago to this day was when GTC launched. Isn't it amazing?
It is amazing. I'll tell you, 4 years ago, it was quite an amazing day for us to actually roll. We're just going to move a little bit away from the cars as they pull out onto the track and go to the grid. Yeah, 4 years ago, I mean, amazing stuff, and here we are. So a brand new class here today. You see the GTC Supa Cup cars making their debut, and phenomenal little cars they are. I think for the price point that they're at, the performance that they're achieving so far this weekend. And it's just more in line with what GTC is all about. It's a Paco touring car now. And we sort of obviously hope to see this as the genuine feeder category into GTC going forward.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it is very much the feeder category into becoming a GTC racer. We don't have GTC cars here today, Gary. When are we going to see them? Will we maybe see them in 2020? It's been a peculiar year all around, but at least we've got something.
It has been a strange year. There's no two ways about it. Yes, and we've got some beautiful new cars in GTC. I mean, the Golf GTI is just it was launched a couple of weeks ago. We've got the new Toyota Corolla that's also coming on song this year. So yes, we probably will see the cars out on circuit this year, but we want to have all the cars together in one place at one time. So we haven't got to that point yet when everyone's agreed to and we're not fully understanding what kind of championship it's going to be as yet. So things are changing so quick with this COVID-19 pandemic, as they are everywhere in the world. So we just want to make sure that when we kick it off with everybody on board. I mean, the cars are really looking good. I mean, that Golf GTI has made a stir worldwide. And the Toyota Corolla, I'm thinking, is going to do pretty much the same. I mean, it's quite exciting stuff. So I can't wait to see those cars out on the circuit in a race. But so far this morning, these little GTC Supa Cup cars have looked fantastic, and I'm just really, really excited about them, because they look like they are real racing cars. Sequential gearboxes, paddle shift gearboxes. It's not just a production car anymore. It's, as I said, a proper racing car.
Yeah, it is. They're amazing cars. It was the first time that I'd seen them this morning, Gary, and I tell you, I was like blown away. I was like, man, this is a Paco racing car. We've got some great drivers in there. Brad Liebenberg, of course, we'll get to him in a short while. We spoke to him about qualifying. But a return for Sean Dermody, who raced in GTC. And then, of course, we've got guys like Saul Hack, who are on the grid, which I think is fantastic for the series.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Saul's been doing a great job overseas in Porsche racing. Did a great job at the 9 Hour last year. He's got involved with into this category, and he was flying yesterday. I mean, he's definitely one of the quickest drivers out there. So it's good to see him out here. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be racing in South Africa, you've got to be in this class, whether you're in GTC or GTC Supa Cup. You've got some fantastic drivers here. So if you want to measure yourself in South Africa against the best, this is where it's all happening. You've got to be. We have the best drivers in the country in both classes now. I'm confident we could do with a couple more that are scratching around looking for drivers at the moment. But let's hope that those drivers, the drivers can find some seats going forward.
No, 100%. Okay, I've got to tell you, listen, thanks so much for joining us and being part of this. It's very much something new for all of us. I'm just looking, the cars are lining up on the grid, and there was nothing when it came to qualifying. That's, I can tell you. So I think we're just going to give you just how close it was. But the cream does rise to the top, and of course Brad Liebenberg is going to start on pole. It will be a rolling start for these guys. They'll do a formation lap, and then of course they'll go into the start of the race. But earlier on, we managed to catch up with Brad Liebenberg, who got pole position. The cream rises to the top. Brad Liebenberg, of course, in GTC Supa Cup, the first race here at Zwartkops Raceway. Man, that was close, Brad, but hey, you're in pole.
Yeah, as long as I'm at the top, it doesn't matter how close it is. Like I say, as long as I'm up there. I managed to do the fast lap on my last lap as the checkered flag came out, so a bit relieved. The balance of the car on the new tyre is obviously a little bit different to what we ran yesterday, so it was getting used to that. Obviously we haven't done a new tyre run, so yeah, it was kind of a little bit of grey waters for everyone, not knowing what we were going into. But yeah, happy that I'm at the top, and hopefully we can keep it that way today.
Listen, tell us a little bit about Tyre Allocation. You're running these stunning Dunlop slicks. Pretty difficult to get the heat into them in these kind of conditions. What do you, for the race itself, do you go into brand new rubber?
No, so for the race we obviously stay on same set that we used quali for, but you know, look, the tyres that we used yesterday did over 130 laps, and they were still, you know, good at the end. I managed to do a 106.1 in the final practice yesterday, and only be able to do a 5.9 this morning on brand new set of rubber. But like you say, very, very difficult to get heat into the tyres. I think all of us, we struggled there. A few guys spinning around. Myself, one of them. I think Jeff also had a moment. One or two other guys also having a bit of a spin into turn 2. But yeah, the racing is going to be difficult. I think it might be a bit of an advantage if you can get the heat into the tyres as early as possible to manage to push at 100% for the first 2-3 laps. So I definitely think if I can turn the tyres on, I can maybe pull a little bit of a gap in the first 2 laps or so. And yeah, hopefully just manage it from there. But we'll see. Obviously, everybody's car setup's a little bit different. You never know whose tyres are going to turn on the fastest. So we'll see how the racing goes.
Listen, it's a great performance. There's nothing in it. Good luck for the race.
Thank you so much.
Well, I tell you, there is tremendous excitement here at Zwartkops. This is the first ever race in the GTC Supa Cup, the feeder series to the main GTC. They're on their warm-up lap, you could say, and of course it is a rolling start. Jeff Kruger not really used to rolling starts, but we're going to have to see. Liebenberg's got a lot more experience, but the two of them have fought in every category of racing over the last couple of years. So I think we're in for a really, really close race. Watch out for Jonathan Machotsi as well. There was nothing when it came to qualifying. And Saul Hack, well, he, you know, when it came to the qualifying, he was a little bit concerned about traffic, but he's going to have it all to do when it comes to this first race. Of course, we're going to take you through just the start of the race, and then we'll catch up with some of our other interviews. But here we go. It is GTC Supa Cup right here at Zwartkops. Lights are green! Well, I tell you, there we go. I got a little bit of cold shivers at the moment because it's just so amazing to be back racing. You know, it is something that we're so passionate about, and we haven't had it for so long. So wonderful to be here. I'm just having a look at what's going on. Oh, Jeffrey Kruger seems to have overtaken Bradley Liebenberg going into turn 1, turn 2. So we're in for a cracking race, and of course we'll bring you all of the times as they go along, and of course the results as well. Why don't we catch up with Jeffrey Kruger just after his qualifying a little bit earlier this morning, and what he had to say about coming into a new series as well. Here's Jeffrey Kruger. Well, I tell you, a young man who's now into GTC Supa Cup, Jeffrey Kruger. I think you've raced just about. I think maybe the only thing you haven't raced is maybe trucks.
Yeah. No, I've been privileged enough to race many categories throughout my sort of career. So this is the latest baby that we're racing, the GTC Supa Polo. And yeah, I must say I'm enjoying it so far. It's tricky to get used to, especially switching on the tires in these cold winter conditions. But it's a learning curve for everyone, so we're enjoying the challenge.
Jeffrey, you know, coming up into this category as well, you're going to be racing, of course, against a great rival of yours, Brad Liebenberg. I mean, there was nothing between the two of you in qualifying. How's that going to affect the start of the race?
Yeah, look, Brad and I have a long history together in the Polo Cup series, always fighting for positions together. So I'll start alongside him, very close qualifying, and yeah, I know he'll be quite accustomed to the rolling start scenario, coming from his karting days, where I've pretty much just been used to the standing start. So I'll try my best, but hopefully we can sort of break away from the rest of the field and just battle it out from there, using the push to pass strategically between us, and that's going to be the deciding factor, I think.
Tell us a little bit, how does the push to pass work?
So we get 5 push to passes each, and for this round they've allowed us to use it for 5 seconds and then a 60-second recharge. So basically you could use it once a lap. So you could burn through it in 5 laps, or you could use it sort of every second lap, every third lap, and try make the race distance, because it is a 12-lapper. So yeah, ideally you want to use it in the beginning and try get away, but safety car could come out, so you have to take that into account. So yeah, it's really up to your strategy and to gauge your pace against the others. So yeah, let's see, it'll be exciting.
Jeffrey, the cars look incredibly well set up, but I must say I was watching all of you going through turn one. There seems to be quite a bit of shudder on the sort of rear of the car under load on the right front. Is there something that you can dial out?
I think a lot of the people are just playing with sort of toes and cameras at the moment and pressures. Like I said, it's a relatively new car for all of us, and the tyre especially, so we're all trying to find a sweet spot. So I mean, we're pushing as hard as we can, trying to use the maximum out of the tyre, and I guess it's being worked hard, so that's what you're seeing. But I mean, the lifespan of these tyres is incredible. Yesterday we used a whole set of old tyres, and we pretty much matched the time yesterday with a new tyre, so it hasn't got a big drop off like you'd expect, so it's actually a great tyre to use.
Listen, fantastic. Great to see you here in GTC Supa Cup. Looking forward to the race. Good luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It is great to hear from these young drivers. Can you believe that 6 out of the 8 drivers in the GTC Supa Cup this year are all debutants? I know, it sounds incredible, but they are debutants. There's a great race going on at the moment between Jeffrey Kruger and Brad Liebenberg, and of course we'll chat to them after race 1, and we will bring you race 2 a little bit later on this afternoon. If you're just tuning in for the first time, it is Race Day TV. We are live here at Zwartkops. Racing is back. I know that it's opening up all over the world. It is a little bit strange because we don't have crowds, we don't have usual festivities that are happening at Zwartkops, which we usually do have, and we are missing it. But it is still wonderful to be here at the circuit, and also the first ever race for GTC Supa Cup, the feeder series into GTC. One thing about the Supa Cup series as well in GTC is that they are running the actual spec tyre that they use in the British Touring Car Championship as well, and that of course is the Dunlop Slick. And we caught up a little bit earlier with Sheila Singh from Dunlop as to how good these tyres really are. I tell you, if you don't have the right rubber, you can't get the performance. Brad Liebenberg did it, of course, everyone running on rubber in GTC Supa Cup. These Dunlop tyres are just magnificent. They are the slicks, but the guys did struggle to get the heat in them a little bit during quali.
Yeah, I think the guys are just feeling the wrath of the cold this morning. But I think once they get a few laps under the belt, the heat will come into the tyres, and the tyres will come into their own form. The guys were very, very strong on them in the 4-hour endurance a couple of weeks ago, and in fact they're still running on exactly the same tyres. So I mean, that's a testament to how well these tyres last. So yeah, we'll see how they perform in race trim. I think it's going to be a very exciting race, Sash.
I think so too. Just tell us a little bit about this compound. Also, can each of the teams and drivers use their own tyre pressures, or is there prescribed tyre pressure from you guys?
So no, the guys are using set tyre pressures, their own depending on how well they perform. But this tyre specifically is the British Touring Car Championship spec tyre, so it's used overseas in BTCC. So yeah, they're using a very, very good tyre, so they should definitely have the confidence into the corners. So they should have absolute confidence in what they're doing, so no hassles there.
Well, it's always great to have Dunlop on board, and great supporter of GTC, and of course now GTC Supa Cup. So let's hope for great racing.
Yeah, looking forward to the race, guys. Thank you.
Oh, I got to tell you, I think that was Saul Hack getting a little bit sideways coming out of the final corner. But Gary, this is brilliant racing, and I tell you, Brad Liebenberg all of a sudden got caught off the line there.
Well, I tell you what, Jeffrey Kruger is a fantastic little driver, and you know, he's really doing a great job here. And he seems to be really quick in the areas where it matters. So like coming out of turn 2, he seems to be able to pull a gap on Brad there, and Brad's got to work for the entire rest of the lap to actually get back up. So you'll see here, going into turn 4, Brad's really good on the brakes, and then makes his way up onto the back of Jeffrey for the rest of the circuit. But then coming out of turn 2, for whatever reason, Jeffrey seems to be able to have the advantage.
Yeah, I tell you, and it's really just wonderful to see what we are seeing here at Zwartkops. The guys were a little bit nervous about getting heat into the tyres, Gary, because the track conditions are a little bit cooler than usual. But the Dunlop rubber seems to really be working well.
Yeah, everything works well. Look, I mean, these cars are reliable. We saw them in the endurance race a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
The cars ran good. Yes, it is cold this morning. The tyre, to qualify the tyre and get it up to a qualifying temperature quickly seems to have been a bit of a problem. But you know, these are kind of the things that the guys are going to need to learn how to work out. As we just look at the top 4 cars now going fast, not a big gap in it. Jonathan Machotzi also seems to be making his way up onto Brad Liebenberg, which is also a great performance.
There's some great driving here. It is GTC Supa Cup live from Zwartkops. We heard from Brad Liebenberg before, after qualifying, but we spoke to him a little bit earlier to find out exactly his thoughts about going into this new championship. So here is last year's GTC 2 champion talking about GTC Supa Cup. He is the reigning GTC 2 champion, but this year it's GTC Supa Cup. First thing, Brad Liebenberg, number 1. What a brilliant year you had last year. How cool are these cars?
Yeah, obviously it was a good year last year, but this is a new year. A lot of new challenges, especially with the virus running around the way it is. Hoping everyone's well and keeping safe firstly. But yeah, the car's good. I mean, you know, true testament was 2 weeks ago we raced in the 4-hour here in the SA Endurance Series. The car ran without a hiccup. Yeah, the tyres lasted, brakes lasted, car lasted. So, you know, VW did a very, very good job of building these cars.
Yeah, they are amazing. And yesterday you had 3 free practice sessions. You were thereabouts, and bang! All of a sudden, when you needed to, top of those timesheets. But it's very, very close.
Yeah, obviously, you know, those first 2 practice sessions, you're kind of dialing in the car, trying to see what's happening. Then yeah, I managed in that last practice to go P1. It was a good lap, a good few laps to be honest. Car feeling amazing. So today is a new day. Today is what counts. So obviously we got to, you know, recreate what we did yesterday today.
And Brad, is there any kind of extra pressure now being the GTC 2 champion, coming into this new category with a new car? Everyone's out there to come after you. Do you feel a little bit extra pressure?
There's always a little bit of pressure, but obviously, you know, you've got to have a cool head at the same time. But, you know, it's never a bad thing, you know, to have that pressure, because at the end of the day as a racing driver, it pushes you to do a little bit better. But yeah, you know, we got good competition in the class, and, you know, like you said earlier, I mean, the class was very, very close yesterday with all the times. So again, today is the day that where everything counts, so we'll see how today goes.
Well, he's the reigning champion, and I tell you, he's definitely going to be the man to beat. Brad, good luck today, and it's great to have everyone back racing.
Thank you very much, and good luck to all the other competitors.
I tell you, it's fast and furious, and that's what we love about racing. Zwartkops GT2, I'm getting so confused, GTC Supa Cup racing. There is such a fight going on between Jeffrey Kruger and Bradley Liebenberg. They're just coming past me now. Jonathan Machotzi right on their tail as well, and Saul Hack trying to chase them down as well. So, I mean, there's still a lot to play for. But just showing you the skill of these drivers in this feeder series, and of course that's where they want to get to. They want to get up to GTC main racing as well. Sounds like something pretty crazy. Sean Dermany's just coming past me as well. He's from the SMD Exotics team, and Andre Bezuidenhout, wonderful to have him racing. We're going to hear from him in a little bit later as well. We've only got about 2 laps left of this race, and earlier on we managed to catch up with Saul Hack. A lot of you will remember him from the 9-hour race, and those who follow international motorsport know that he races in Porsche overseas. But he's now racing here back in South Africa as well, and he's very, very excited. Here's Saul Hack. The excitement just gets more and more here at Zwartkops. Of course, it's the Extreme Festival, and we've got the debut and inaugural round of GTC Supa Cup. And a new guy, well, in a way. I mean, if you watched the 9-hour last year, you would have seen an unbelievable drive from this young man, as well as a guy who plies his trade most of the time internationally in the Porsche Mobile 1 series. Saul Hack is racing in South Africa again. Saul, so wonderful to have you part of our South African racing again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the words. It's just good to be back here. You know, COVID obviously has affected a lot of people all over the place, and for the Villa Blue boys and Zwartkops and everyone to put this together, I think is amazing.
Listen, the wonderful thing is, you know, you are so used to racing in really pedigreed cars that are set up properly for racing. This car, I think, has surprised even you in terms of how good it is.
Yeah, you know, when I actually got asked to join, I was a bit skeptical, and eventually Andre Bezuidenhout, you know, was the one who pushed me into it, and he said, you know, go look at the car. I came to look at the car, and I actually was in love immediately. It's very similar to any kind of one-make race that you want to see. You know, you got a really good brake system, the suspension's really good, it's got a very, very strong engine, you know, it's a Golf R engine. So the car overall is just fantastic, and the package, I think, is a really good package, especially for what it costs as opposed to what you're doing overseas, you know.
Now, listen, yesterday in the practice sessions, I mean, you just lit up the timing screens. I wasn't here, I'm here today, thankfully, but yesterday I was just getting the time. I said, gee, Saul is flying.
Yeah, I just felt what the track was like. Obviously, the conditions are always changing. You've got all these different classes here, so the tires will always be different. But I just wanted to go out and, you know, do what I knew how to do and try and push. And obviously, it counts today, so hopefully I can do it again today.
Listen, it's great to have you part of this series, and we so look forward to seeing you racing today, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Oh, I tell you, what a fantastic start to start the GTC Supa Cup series. I'm just looking at some of the times over here. The best times, the top four guys, 106.05, 01 is 1.7. There is nothing between these guys when it comes to racing. Wonderful, brilliant from Jeffrey Kruger. He gets the first ever win, and I tell you, that's going to definitely get Brad Liebenberg thinking about things when it gets to the second race a little bit later on this afternoon. Jonathan Machotsi right on their tail as well, and a brilliant debut performance, you've got to say, from Saul Hack in the Team Perfect Circle car as well. So wonderful start to the inaugural series of GTC Supa Cup right here at Zwartkops. Gary Formato is actually making his way up to the Park for May area, and hopefully he's going to bring some of the drivers down so we can have a little bit of a chat to them. But fast and furious racing, that's exactly what we want to see. We're just so happy that we've got some racing back on here. I'm just looking, you know, we're in the middle of the pit lane here, Hank, so we're going to have to maybe move a little bit out of the way. But, you know, I just sitting there saying, gosh, you know, this place is usually full of spectators at Zwartkops, and not having spectators definitely does make a significant difference. And I think maybe that's also maybe to ask some of the drivers, what is it like to drive or go racing when you don't have the crowds out there? Because this is something that we're all so passionate about, and people love to come here, and you know, we usually have bands playing, and we have people selling all various different types of merchandise. There is a different kind of an atmosphere. Now we're more with technicians and mechanics, and of course the drivers and some team members. But we all have to respect the protocols when it comes to coronavirus and COVID-19. So, you know, kudos to everybody who's gotten involved. While we wait for some of the drivers to make their way down to our area where we can have a chat with them, we caught up with a man who's been around for a long time in the world of motor racing, but has never really raced with people, and he's just such a wonderful man. So also from Team Perfect Circle, and you remember them from the 9 hour as well, here is the wonderful Andre Bezuidenhout. Oh, this is just one of my favorite men in the whole world, not because he's an advocate and you may need him for some help, but he races everything. He is a hill climb specialist, has won it on numerous occasions in South Africa, loves to get into anything that has got wheels, and tours around the world in his fabulous Porsches. And all of a sudden, Andre Bezuidenhout is now driving a front wheel drive car, which he's never driven before, his team perfect circle, which was outstanding during the 9 hour, just in the way that they presented themselves, and then of course also drove around that. Andre, it is incredible to have you here in the GTC Supa Cup. What made you come?
Well, you know, I've never had the opportunity of really to go racing with the youngsters. Whilst I was running a career and I was involved in motorsport and the administration of motorsport and doing the odd thing across the world, I never competed in the national series. And about a year and a half ago, I decided, look, if I don't do it now, I may just never do it. So I've been looking at a series to see where I can play a little bit along. But Saul Hack and myself, after the end of Kailami, you know, the Perfect Circle relaunch of that team, Saul and myself actually became quite good friends, and he invited me to go and race in the Porsche Super Cup in the Middle East, and I did 2 of the events there. And I really enjoyed it. You know, it was a big eye-opener again as to the standard of professionalism. And you can see a guy like Saul, I mean, he's joined our team now, and just look at the standard. He's put it on to effectively pole yesterday, although he has to qualify today, and it's been a fantastic experience with him. So I convinced him into the car when I heard about this from Mike Rowe, and he accepted the challenge, and thank God we did it. Because if we didn't do it, you know, we don't have motor racing. I mean, none of us can travel internationally, and we are here. And I think it's fantastic that guys are committed, you know, to take their overseas investment. A guy like Saul, he's an international player, and come and race in South Africa. So it's wonderful having him here, and that's why I'm in Polo Cup. So it's a hell of a learning curve to me.
Listen, it's just wonderful, number one, to have you here. And then yesterday, looking at those timing sheets, I was going, geez, I mean, yeah, look at Andre. He's not far off the pace. He's getting that car dialed in. How different is it driving this kind of a car compared to what you're used to?
That's completely different. Look, I've raced for 30 years, but I've never experienced something that you have to steer it and drive it with 2 wheels. You know, I'm used to rear-wheel drive, which is comfortable for me. So it's a big learning curve. I mean, I started on Wednesday and I was seconds off the pace. But now, I mean, yesterday I was 5th fastest. I was not happy with myself because I see the errors, but you know, I can't expect too much. I'm an amateur. The guys in the front are really professional. So for me, if I can run faultlessly today and just finish it and have fun, that'll be mission achieved.
You know, Andre, you are a man of perfection. Any kind of racing that I've ever seen you do, you always are attention to detail. These cars have come out way beyond any expectation I would have had. I mean, this is really professional and super looking.
You know, we've got a friend in the UK. His name is Paul Giddon. So everybody asked me, and Mike asked me, he said, where did you get the livery from? In the years that one has been around, you know, when you get to mine your age, you've got friends, so you call on favors of friends. But Paul Giddon is a world, you know, artist, and he did the livery for us, and it bloody looks fast. You know, you look at the car, it looks like a proper machine. Yeah. So I'm very happy about that. It's come out fantastic.
They look superb. It is so wonderful to have you here together with Saul as well. Good luck for the racing today. We're definitely going to be rooting for you.
Thank you, and thank you for being here.
I tell you, it's been fast and furious, and there's so much action that is happening right here at Zwartkops. What a lovely man Andre Bezuidenhout is, and I think he really did a fantastic race there. Just, you know, here's a guy who's done hill climbs, he's done so much other kind of racing, but now he's in a really competitive category, and he's got to go out there and actually try and do his best. So I think a fantastic drive from him. And you know what? A little earlier we did catch up with Jonathan Machotsi, but Jonathan's actually going to be walking into my let's get Jonathan here. Here we go. So we were talking about Jonathan Machotsi. Jonathan is here. Man, that was a terrific race. You were pushing as hard as you could, Jonathan.
Yeah, well, actually from the beginning, I think my strategy going in was just to try and keep with the guys in front. I wanted to make sure that my tires, you know, got up to temperatures, and then I was aiming to push towards the end of the race. But I think the guys in front, the times must have been so similar because I could barely catch and pass. So, yeah, very exciting race from my seat, though.
Yeah, well, listen, I got to say, I mean, there was nothing in the times. I was looking at the times. I mean, the split between you, Brad, Saul, and Jeffrey, it's like nothing in between there. So I mean, you guys are just driving precision to an end. No one made a mistake.
Yeah, I was hoping the guys in front would make a mistake, but I think, you know, Brad and Jeff are both champions in their own right, and looks like they kept it together and kept it on the black stuff.
Well, listen, that was an outstanding race. I'm sure you're pumped for the next one.
No, absolutely, I've got something up my sleeve.
Good man. There we go, Jonathan Mokotsi. Let's get Brad Liebenberg in here as well. He started on pole position, and a man with the experience of rolling starts, Brad, against your old rival Jeffrey. All of a sudden, he seemed to have pipped you at turn 2.
Yeah, we went in and I had a bit of a gap going into turn 2. I got on the brakes, everything was fine. Got, you know, to the apex, and then right before I was about to get on the power, I just had a little bit of snap of oversteer. I think obviously tyres not fully up to temperature yet. But unfortunate because obviously managed to get up my inside there, and then it kind of stayed like that for the rest of the race. Probably to try and cool the car down. I was just soaking up a lot of his hot air, and towards the end there, the last 4 laps, I had no brakes left. A few hairy moments where the pedal came and then went, it came and went, so didn't really have the confidence that I did at the beginning of the race, obviously, on the brakes, but yeah, you know, the pace was there, and we knew it was going to be tight, but yeah, obviously we look ahead to race 2 and see what we can do. Maybe we can do a reverse of what he did to me.
Well, I tell you, I mean, you know what, the two of you are such accomplished and such professional racing drivers, you know, and it's not often that you're going to see yourself or him making a mistake, so I mean, that's what makes it even more difficult. But I mean, you applied the pressure right up till the end.
Yeah, Jeff's good at soaking up that pressure. I mean, we battled last year the entire year, and yeah, neither of us really made mistakes. You know, it was the odd one, and unfortunately today was the odd one for me. So, you know, we look ahead to race 2. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, listen, it was great to watch. Thank you very much. There we go. Well, I tell you, you can hear there's some crazy action going over there. Jeffrey Kruger, our winner of the first ever GTC Supa Cup race. Jeff, when we spoke before the event, you sat there and went, well, rolling start's not really your thing, but man, did you get the long shot?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't looking forward to the rolling start, but now at least I know how it works properly. But yeah, unfortunately, Brad, in turn 2, he lost the rear slightly, I think due to the cold tyre. And then that just allowed me the opportunity to sneak up the inside, and then from there got into the front. And then it was just about managing the pace. I knew Brad and Jono would be quick, and Sol as well. So I just had to keep them in check. I used the push to pass in the beginning to try to get away, but Brad was right there the whole time. And yeah, luckily I could just hold it off until the end. It was a long race, 12 lapper, a lot longer than I'm used to. But yeah, it was a lot of concentration needed to not make a mistake. But yeah, looking forward to race 2.
Jeffrey, now the one thing that I really, you have to drive and absorb all of the pressure from Brad. So when you're driving, I mean, you know, you've got to look forwards, but you also got to try and defend. I mean, how does that affect you mentally about where you position your car?
So basically, in the beginning stages, I was just sort of watching where Brad was stronger than me. And in those areas or those zones, I would just sort of take extra caution, you know. But then pretty much just focus on your own race and try to just put in the lap times. I always knew you was going to be there, so you just need to look forward actually and just put in the lap times. Don't make a mistake, because one mistake is when he'll get past. And unlike the cup class here, you can't really miss a gear. That was always an easy target, a gear shift missed. But yeah, now you can sort of miss your braking marker, go too late, come down on the gears too late. So it's got its own challenges now. So yeah, you just have to keep your concentration, look forward, and put in the lap times. That's it.
Jeffrey, one thing, you know, you've raced here for so many years. You know this place like the back of your hand. I mean, I love Zwartkops just as a place. What's it like not having crowds, not having people waving or just getting on with their own sort of routines? How does it feel for you as a driver not having the crowds here?
It's a little strange, I'll be honest. You notice especially on the cool down lap when normally you take the time to just appreciate the people here. But yeah, unfortunately, there's a few spectators here, but that being belonging to the paddock. But I mean, we know we have a following, and via social media they can follow the progress of the race. Hopefully they can get back here soon. But we're just glad to be racing, and we have to abide by the rules, and so be it. So we have to do what we're told.
Oh, wonderful. And listen, congratulations on the first win in GTC Supa Cup. I cannot wait for race 2. I think it's going to be a cracker. There we go. Well done. Well done. Ah, Rowan Roberts is watching with us. Here he is. Just waiting for all of these crazy, loud boys to come past here. Saul Hack, you heard from him a little bit earlier. We were talking about him racing internationally, and of course now actually putting his investment into South African racing and into this GTC Supa Cup class. I tell you, that was fast and frenetic, and I think you might have got fastest lap.
I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen the times, but I saw my pace was pretty good. I just allowed them to get away from me right at the start, which then, because the times are so close and the race is so short, it's so hard to close the gap. So I know that the pace is there. I just need to be a little bit more confident and stay with them out of turn 2 and just stick with them through the race.
I mean, it just shows you just the quality of the driving as well. As you say, you know, slightly slower out of turn 2, and it sort of affects you for the whole of the race. I mean, the quality and standard is really high, Saul. But I mean, first time out there in these kind of cars, you know, you haven't raced these kind of cars for years and years. I think it was an outstanding performance, and you were right up there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, when I had a chat with Colin before the series even started on one of the race day shows, he said to me, how do I think? And someone asked me the question, what do I think about the local drivers? And I said, you know, I'm going to come here and I'm not going to expect anything, because I know that these boys are strong, and I know, and you know, you've been watching them over the years. I think Bradley's the multiple South African champion, Jeffrey's a multiple South African champion. I think Jonathan's very experienced and he's coming up. So I knew that I wasn't going to just come here and beat them. I'm going to have to work for it. So, and that's, you know, that's what we want in racing. We want to work for it.
Listen, just number one, fantastic to have you here, and well done on a superb race. I cannot wait for race 2. I know that you're going to be pushing them again.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll do my best, and just want to close the gap, and then I'll be a little bit more content with that. Yeah.
Wonderful. There we go. That's Saul Hack, of course, from his team Perfect Circle. Unbelievable. The first ever GTC Supa Cup race, Gary. And I'll tell you, that was close. The quality, the caliber of driving, I think, is something to be very proud of.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I mean, the race at the front was very good. I think that if Brad had probably got it to the first corner first, excuse me, he would have had less trouble with the brakes. Excuse me. And it just shows you've got to race these cars to also just find out just how they perform. So yes, they've been in an endurance race here a couple of weekends ago, but obviously a lot more gaps between the cars. You're racing over the time. Here you're following somebody really close, and you can see that the car was under a bit of pressure. So they're going to go now sort of work that out and just make sure that those cars stay cool. It's a very cool day as well. So on a hot day, that's going to be, you know, it's going to become more of a problem. So these are the kind of things that teams can go away and look at and fix up for, you know, for the races going forward.
Okay, there we go. Listen, it's so fantastic to be here. Thank you for joining us for our first race. Of course, we will be with you a little bit later. Hopefully somebody, Gary, who makes these masks can find us one that stay with us the whole time, because it's crazy. It's crazy, but you know, it's the rules, and we've got to respect the rules, so it's wonderful. We are racing. The guys have got a little bit of a break, and then of course we'll be getting ready for GTC Supa Cup Race 2. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure that you check us on our live stream. We will put up a reminder as to when we're going to be on, and we look forward to you joining us again. But thank you so much for joining us right here on Race Day TV.